While millions flee to Sunbelt states chasing 75-degree winters, something counterintuitive is happening in America's frozen frontier. States where January temperatures plunge below zero, where heating bills devour paychecks, where your car won't start 4 months a year, these places are experiencing something remarkable: population growth, economic expansion, housing shortages. We're not talking about retirees making poor decisions. We're talking about families, young professionals, and entrepreneurs deliberately choosing states where winter isn't a season, it's a siege. Where cold doesn't mean sweater weather. It means frostbite warnings, frozen pipes, and snow measured in feet, not inches. Today, we're counting down the top 10 coldest states in America and revealing the shocking reasons why people are still moving there despite the brutal reality of sub-zero existence. Because while conventional wisdom says warmth wins, the data tells a completely different story. These frozen states are offering something the Sun Belt can't match, and it's causing one of the most fascinating migration patterns in American history. This matters right now because housing markets in these cold weather states are tightening. Median prices are climbing. Inventory is vanishing. And if you're considering joining this counterintuitive migration, you need to understand what you're actually signing up for, and why tens of thousands are betting their futures on fleece and furnaces. If you want data-driven insights into America's most dramatic housing and migration trends, subscribe now. We analyze the patterns everyone else misses, revealing opportunities and warnings that could save or make you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's dive in. Number 10. Maine. Picture this: Portland, Maine. Historic port city, charming brick buildings, lobster boats bobbing in the harbor. Then January arrives, and those boats are frozen in ice. Those charming streets are buried under 3 feet of snow, and your heating bill just hit $400 for a 200-square-foot house. Welcome to number 10. Maine's average winter temperature hovers at $20 feet, but that's generous. Head inland to Caribou? Try $10 on a good day. Annual snowfall exceeds 100 inches in northern counties. The state experiences an average of 60 days below freezing every winter. Heating costs are among the highest in America, $2,400 annually for the average household. That's $200 per month before you turn on a single light. But it's not just the cold. Maine is rural, isolated. The median age is 45, oldest in the nation. Jobs are concentrated in tourism, fishing, and forestry, industries that hibernate in winter. The southern coast is expensive, with median home prices in Portland hitting $425,000, up 8% year over year. That's Sunbelt pricing for Arctic living conditions. What's making it worse? Insurance. Homeowners in coastal Maine are facing 15–20% annual increases as insurers account for nor'easters, ice dams, and flooding. A typical policy now costs $1,800 yearly. Add heating, add property taxes averaging $3,200 annually, and you're bleeding $7,400 in basic shelter costs before your mortgage. Yet here's the twist. Maine gained 15,000 residents between 2020 and 2023. Remote workers from Boston and New York discovered something: space, safety, quality of life that doesn't involve traffic and crime. They're paying cold weather penalties for something priceless: peace. Teachers are buying homes in Bangor for $220,000 that would cost $600,000 in Massachusetts. Families are choosing Brunswick over Brooklyn. They're trading convenience for character, warmth for authenticity. They're betting that 100 inches of snow is worth escaping the grind. The housing market reflects this gamble. Listings in desirable coastal towns sit on the market just 18 days. Bidding wars are erupting in towns like Camden and Bar Harbor. Sellers are receiving offers 5–8% above asking. For a state where you can't see grass for 6 months, that's remarkable. Could this continue? Absolutely. As remote work becomes permanent and coastal cities become unaffordable, Maine's frozen frontier looks increasingly attractive. The cold isn't a bug. It's a filter. It keeps out the casual transplants and welcomes the committed. Number 9. Minnesota. Minnesota nice, more like Minnesota ice. This state doesn't do winter, it does endurance tests. Average January temperatures in Minneapolis hit 10-degree highs. Not the low, the average. Wind chills routinely drop to 30-degree highs. The state records 120, 150 days below freezing annually. Snowfall buries the Twin Cities under 54 inches every year, with northern regions seeing 70-plus inches. The numbers are staggering. Heating costs average $1,900 annually. Car maintenance in winter climates runs 30% higher. Batteries die, fluids freeze, rust accelerates. Minnesotans budget an extra $800 yearly, just keeping vehicles operational. Then there's winter clothing, snow removal, ice melt, and the mental health costs of seasonal affective disorder affecting 10% of the population. But it's not just survival expenses. Minnesota's housing market is heating up despite the frozen landscape. Median home prices in Minneapolis reached $340,000, up 6% year over year. In desirable suburbs like Edina and Minnetonka, prices exceed $500,000. Days on market, just 22. Inventory dropped 15% compared to last year. This is a seller's market in a state where winter lasts half the year. The reason: jobs. Minnesota is home to 17 Fortune 500 companies: Target, Best Buy, United Health Group, 3M. The economy is diversified and resilient. Unemployment sits at 2.8%, among the lowest nationally. Average household income is $77,000, well above the national median. People aren't moving here despite the cold. They're moving here for opportunities that justify the cold. What's making it even more attractive? Education. Minnesota's schools rank in the top 10 nationally. The University of Minnesota is a research powerhouse. Healthcare is world-class, with the Mayo Clinic nearby in Rochester. Quality of life metrics consistently rank Minnesota in the top 5 states, despite temperatures that would make penguins reconsider. And then there's culture. The Twin Cities offer theater, music, museums, and restaurants that rival coastal cities. You're not sacrificing sophistication for affordability. You're getting both, with a side of hypothermia. Families who bought homes in St. Paul 5 years ago at $280,000 now sit on properties worth $360,000. That's $80,000 in appreciation while enduring 5 brutal winters. They're not complaining. They're refinancing and upgrading to homes with better insulation. Investors are noticing. Rental properties in Minneapolis generate 7 to 8% cash-on-cash returns, sustained by strong employment and limited new construction. Multifamily properties near the University of Minnesota see 95% plus occupancy, despite heating costs that make landlords wince. Could Minnesota's growth continue? Absolutely. The state offers economic stability, educational excellence, and cultural richness. The cold is the price of admission to a higher quality of life, and thousands are paying it gladly. If you're finding this eye-opening, subscribe. We're only at number 9, and it only gets colder. And more surprising. Number 8. Wisconsin, Green Bay, home of the frozen tundra, where football games are played at 13-degree Regschwer, and fans call it character building. Wisconsin doesn't apologize for winter. Average temperatures in January hit 14-degree off statewide, with northern regions like Superior seeing single digits as the norm. The state endures 130-160 days below freezing. Lake-effect snow dumps 40-50 inches on Milwaukee and 100-plus inches on northern counties. Wind chills off Lake Michigan create conditions where exposed skin freezes in minutes. Heating costs average $1,700 annually. Property taxes are brutal. $3,800 for the median home, among the highest in the Midwest. Homeowners insurance runs $400 yearly, up 12% in 3 years, as insurers price in extreme weather events. Before your mortgage, you're paying $6,900 in annual shelter costs. But it's not just the financial burden. Wisconsin is a dairy state losing dairy farms. Rural areas are depopulating as agriculture mechanizes. Small towns are graying, with median ages exceeding 50 in many counties. Jobs concentrate in Milwaukee and Madison, creating a two-tier economy. Prosperous cities, struggling countryside. Yet here's what's happening. Wisconsin added 14,000 residents between 2020 and 2023. Median home prices in Madison hit $385,000, up 9% year over year. Milwaukee saw prices climb to $265,000, up 5%. Days on market dropped to 24 statewide. Inventory fell 18% in desirable markets. The reason? Affordability, relative to Chicago. Families priced out of Illinois are discovering Wisconsin. A $265,000 home in Milwaukee offers space, safety, and decent schools. Things that cost $450,000 in Chicago suburbs. Remote workers are choosing Madison, with its tech scene, university culture, and progressive vibe, over coastal cities charging double. What's making Wisconsin even more attractive? Water. The Great Lakes are becoming invaluable as climate change intensifies. Freshwater access, cooler summers, and resilience to droughts and wildfires are long-term assets. Wisconsin isn't fighting over water rights. It's surrounded by 20% of the world's fresh surface water. And then there's the culture. Wisconsin does community. Friday fish fries, supper clubs, festivals celebrating everything from cheese to snowmobiles. The social fabric is strong, the crime rates are low, and the quality of life is high if you can tolerate 5 months of winter. Young professionals are buying homes in Milwaukee's Bayview and Walker's Point neighborhoods, gentrifying areas that were affordable 5 years ago. They're paying $320,000 for renovated bungalows, betting that Milwaukee's downtown renaissance continues. So far, they're right. Values are climbing 6-7% annually. Retirees are staying put. Unlike Sunbelt migrants, Wisconsinites who grew up with winter aren't fleeing it. They're aging in place, creating housing shortages as inventory stagnates. New construction can't keep pace with demand, especially in Madison, where university expansion and tech growth fuel constant absorption. Could Wisconsin's frozen appeal continue? Yes. As climate refugees flee heat and fire, cold weather states with water resources become destinations. Wisconsin offers stability, affordability, and resilience. The cold isn't a deterrent. It's a feature for those planning long-term. Number 7. Vermont. Vermont, where ski season isn't recreation, it's survival training. This tiny state epitomizes cold weather living. Average winter temperatures hover at 16 degrees, with mountain regions routinely hitting 20 degrees. Annual snowfall ranges from 60 inches in valleys to 100-plus inches in the Green Mountains. The state experiences 150-plus days below freezing. In some areas, snow covers the ground from November through April, 5 full months. Heating costs are catastrophic. Vermont relies heavily on heating oil, with average annual costs hitting $2,600. That's $216 monthly, just to avoid freezing to death. Add property taxes averaging $4,500 annually, and homeowners in this picturesque state are paying $7,100 before mortgages. But it's not just expenses. Vermont is expensive overall. Median home prices statewide hit $380,000, up 7% year over year. In desirable towns like Burlington, Stowe, and Woodstock, prices exceed $500,000. A modest home in Montpelier costs $340,000. That's California pricing for Alaskan temperatures. What's making it worse? Jobs are scarce. Vermont's economy is small, dominated by tourism, education, and healthcare. Average household income is $68,000, not bad, but insufficient for housing costs. Young professionals leave for better opportunities, creating a demographic crisis. The median age is 43, second oldest in America. Yet here's the paradox. Vermont gained population during the pandemic. Remote workers fleeing cities discovered something magical: natural beauty, progressive culture, farm-to-table everything. They're paying heating bills that make Floridians gasp because they're buying into a lifestyle. The housing market reflects this transformation. Listings in Burlington sit on the market just 15 days. Bidding wars are common in desirable areas. Sellers receive offers 8 to 12% above asking. For a state with brutal winters and limited jobs, that's extraordinary. And then there's the culture. Vermont is community-focused, environmentally conscious, politically engaged. Farmers markets aren't trendy. They're tradition. Local food isn't a movement, it's how people eat. The social fabric is strong. The crime rate is negligible, and the quality of life is exceptional if you can afford it and tolerate the cold. Families are buying homes. In towns like Brattleboro and Rutland, betting that remote work permanence makes Vermont viable. They're trading office commutes for mountain views, urban density for rural space. They're choosing wood stoves over air conditioning, ski trails over beach access. Could Vermont's appeal endure? Possibly. The state offers authenticity that's increasingly rare. But the economic fundamentals are concerning. High costs, low job growth, aging population. This is a lifestyle choice, not an economic calculation. Those moving here are betting that quality of life justifies financial sacrifice. And for many, it does. Vermont isn't for everyone. It's for those who value character over convenience, community over commerce. The cold is the price of admission to something increasingly precious, a slower, more intentional way of living. Number 6. Montana, Big Sky Country, where cold is measured in survival, not comfort. Montana redefines winter brutality. Average statewide temperatures in January hit 11-degree treff, but that's misleading. In places like Billings, temperatures can plunge to 30-degree treff. Wind chills across the eastern plains routinely reach 50 degrees. Snowfall varies wildly, 35 inches in the eastern flatlands, 150-plus inches in mountain towns, and 300 inches at ski resorts. Heating costs average $2,600 annually, but many rural homes burn through $2,500 in propane or heating oil. Property is cheap. Median home prices statewide are $445,000, up 11% year over year, but concentrated in Bozeman and Missoula, where prices exceed $600,000. In truly remote areas, homes sell for $250,000. But good luck finding work. But it's not just isolation. Montana is booming and suffering for it. Californians and Washingtonians discovered Montana during the pandemic, driving prices through the roof. Bozeman median prices jumped from $450,000 in 2019 to $730,000 in 2024. That's a 62% increase in 5 years. Missoula followed suit, climbing from $320,000 to $520,000. The reason? Land, space, freedom, from regulation and crowds. Montana offers what coastal states can't: acreage, privacy, and the ability to do what you want on your property. Remote workers are buying ranches, converting barns to offices, and zooming from locations that look like screensavers. What's making it even more magnetic? Politics. Montana is conservative, attracting those fleeing progressive West Coast governance. Low taxes, gun rights, minimal regulation. It's a different operating system. For those seeking that environment, frozen winters are a small price to pay. And then there's recreation. Montana isn't enduring winter, it's celebrating it. Skiing, snowmobiling, ice fishing, backcountry adventures. Winter isn't downtime, it's showtime. The state's outdoor culture is year-round, and those moving here embrace that mentality. Young families are buying homes in Helena and Great Falls, areas where $380,000 still buys space and quality. They're trading coastal careers for Montana lifestyles, accepting pay cuts for peace of mind. Teachers, nurses, and tradespeople are building lives in towns where community still matters. But there's a dark side. Locals are being priced out. Service workers can't afford Bozeman or Whitefish. Housing shortages are acute. Inventory in desirable markets is down 25% year over year. Days on market? Just 12 in Bozeman. Sellers are fielding cash offers within hours. Could Montana's frozen boom continue? Yes, but with consequences. The state is experiencing cultural clash. Transplants versus natives. Development versus preservation. Housing affordability is collapsing for locals. The very character that attracts newcomers is being threatened by their arrival. Montana isn't for everyone. Winters are brutal, isolation is real, and economic opportunities are limited. But for those seeking escape from crowded, expensive, regulated coastal life, Montana offers something priceless: space to breathe, even if that air is 20 degrees. Number 5. Wyoming. Wyoming, where civilization is optional and winter is mandatory. America's least populous state doesn't do mild. Average January temperatures hit 8 degrees statewide, with Jackson Hole routinely experiencing 25-degree cuff. Wind is relentless. Wyoming's wind chill factor makes actual temperatures feel 15-20 degrees colder. Snowfall ranges from 40 inches in the eastern plains to 200-plus inches in the Tetons. Heating costs are moderate, $2,400 annually, because homes are built for this. Triple-pane windows, serious insulation, backup generators. But housing is expensive where people actually want to live. Jackson median home price $2.1 million, not a typo. Casper, the largest city, sits at $320,000, up 8% year over year. But it's not just the extremes. Wyoming is empty. Population density is 6 people per square mile. The entire state has 580,000 residents, less than Milwaukee. Jobs concentrate in energy, oil, gas, coal, and tourism. Economic diversification is minimal. When energy markets crash, Wyoming bleeds. Yet, here's the phenomenon. Wyoming is gaining millionaires. Ultra-wealthy individuals are buying ranches, establishing residency, and exploiting the state's zero income tax. Jackson Hole has become a billionaire haven. Tech executives, hedge fund managers, celebrities. They're buying $15 million properties and claiming Wyoming residency while spending winters in Aspen or St. Bart's. What's making Wyoming attractive beyond tax avoidance? Privacy. You can own 5,000 acres and never see a neighbor. You can build what you want, how you want. Regulation is minimal. The culture is libertarian. Live and let live. For the wealthy seeking escape from scrutiny and taxes, Wyoming is paradise. And then there's the natural beauty. Yellowstone, Grand Teton, endless vistas. Wyoming's landscapes are incomparable. The state sells a fantasy. The American West, unchanged and uncompromised. Those who can afford it are buying in. Middle-class families are choosing Cheyenne and Laramie, where $280,000 still buys a decent home. They're working in healthcare, education, and state government. Stable jobs in a stable environment. They're accepting winter brutality for summer glory and year-round safety. But there's a problem. Wyoming's economy is fossil fuel dependent in an era of energy transition. As coal declines and oil faces long-term headwinds, the state's revenue model is threatened. Without income tax, Wyoming relies on mineral extraction revenue. That model is fragile. Could Wyoming's appeal continue? For the wealthy, absolutely. Zero income tax is permanent attraction. For the middle class, it's uncertain. Economic diversification is slow, job growth is limited, and climate is punishing. Wyoming isn't a migration destination. It's a selection. Those moving here are either escaping taxes or embracing isolation. Winter isn't a season, it's a statement. And those making that statement are willing to pay, both financially and physically. We're only halfway through. If these frozen frontiers are shocking you, subscribe and tell us. Would you move to any of these states? The comment section is heating up even if these states aren't. Number 4. South Dakota, Mount Rushmore's home state, where presidents are carved in stone and residents are carved by cold. South Dakota delivers punishing winters with minimal fanfare. Average January temperatures hit 12 degrees, but the eastern plains experience 20-degree temperatures regularly. Blizzards are frequent. The state averages 3 to 5 major winter storms annually, shutting down highways and isolating communities for days. Wind chill warnings are routine, with feels-like temperatures dropping to 40-degree force. Heating costs average $1,500 annually. Property taxes are low, $1,900 for the median home. Insurance is affordable at $1,200 yearly. On paper, South Dakota is cheap to live in. Median home prices statewide hit $295,000, up 6% year over year. In Sioux Falls, the largest city, prices reach $310,000. But it's not just affordability driving growth. South Dakota is booming economically. Sioux Falls is a banking and finance hub, home to credit card operations for major banks exploiting favorable regulations. Unemployment is 2.1%, among the lowest nationally. Jobs in healthcare, finance, and agriculture provide stability. Average household income is $65,000, sufficient for housing costs. The reason people are moving here? No state income tax. South Dakota is one of 9 states with zero income tax, saving residents thousands annually. For those earning 6 figures, the savings are substantial, $8,000 to $10,000 yearly compared to high-tax states. What's making South Dakota even more attractive? Business climate, minimal regulation, pro-growth policies, and low operating costs attract companies. Remote workers establishing businesses can operate with overhead unimaginable in California or New York. And then, there's quality of life. Sioux Falls offers culture, dining, and recreation without urban dysfunction. Crime is low, schools are decent, and community is strong. You're not sacrificing everything for affordability. You're getting surprising quality for the price. Young families are buying homes in Rapid City and Brookings, areas where $260,000 buys space and safety. They're choosing South Dakota over Minnesota and Iowa, trading marginally better weather for better economics. But there are trade-offs. South Dakota is isolated culturally. Entertainment options are limited. The population is homogeneous. For those seeking diversity and dynamism, South Dakota feels suffocating. Could South Dakota's growth continue? Absolutely. The economic fundamentals are solid. Low taxes, job growth, affordable housing. The state is positioned well for remote work migration. The cold isn't stopping growth. It's filtering for the committed. South Dakota isn't flashy. It's functional. For those prioritizing economics over excitement, it's compelling. And thousands are choosing function over flash, frost over festivals. Number 3, North Dakota. Now we're entering truly brutal territory. North Dakota isn't cold, it's hostile. Average January temperatures hit 2 degrees statewide. In Minot and Williston, 30 degrees is normal. The state recorded a temperature of 60 degrees in 1936, and modern winters still see 40 degrees readings. Wind chill can reach 60 degrees, creating conditions where exposed skin freezes in under 5 minutes. Heating costs average $1,800 annually, but rural homes burn through $2,500 in brutal years. Snowfall is moderate, 35–45 inches, but the wind creates whiteout conditions and massive drifts. Roads close regularly. Schools cancel for cold, not snow. But it's not just survival challenges. North Dakota is remote. Fargo, the largest city, has 125,000 people. The entire state has 779,000 residents. Culture is limited, entertainment is scarce, and winters feel endless. The state experiences 180+ days below freezing annually. Half the year is winter. Yet here's the shock. North Dakota's median home price is $280,000, up 5% year over year. In Fargo, prices hit $310,000. Days on market? Just 18. Inventory is tight. In a state where winter kills, the housing market is alive. The reason? Oil. The Bakken Shale Formation made North Dakota an energy powerhouse. Williston went from sleepy town to boom town, with workers flooding in for six-figure jobs. Housing couldn't keep pace. Demand still exceeds supply in oil regions. What's making North Dakota even more attractive? Economic stability. Unemployment is 2.3%, among the lowest nationally. State government runs budget surpluses. Banks are healthy, and foreclosure rates are negligible. Economically, North Dakota is fortress solid. And then there's affordability beyond housing. No traffic, low crime, excellent schools in Fargo and Bismarck. For families willing to endure winter, North Dakota offers financial security and safe communities. Young professionals are taking jobs in healthcare, energy, and agriculture, earning strong incomes in low-cost environments. A nurse in Fargo makes $75,000 and buys a home for $290,000. That same nurse in Seattle makes $85,000 and can't afford a $650,000 starter home. But there's a catch. North Dakota is aging. Young people leave for warmer, more dynamic states. The culture is conservative, the landscape is flat, and the winter is oppressive. Those staying or moving here are making calculated economic decisions, not lifestyle choices. Could North Dakota's frozen economy continue? Yes, as long as energy remains viable. But the state is overly dependent on oil. When prices crash, so does growth. Diversification is minimal. The long-term outlook is uncertain. North Dakota isn't for dreamers. It's for realists. Those moving here are chasing economic opportunity, not quality of life. Winter is the price of financial stability, and for some, that's a trade worth making. Number 2, Alaska. Welcome to America's last frontier, where winter isn't a season, it's an identity. Alaska redefines cold. Average winter temperatures in Fairbanks hit 10-degree Fahrenheit, but that's generous. 40-degree Fahrenheit is common. 60-degree Fahrenheit happens. The state experiences polar night in northern regions, 24 hours of darkness for months. Snowfall ranges from 50 inches in Anchorage to 300-plus inches in mountain regions. Heating costs are catastrophic. Fairbanks residents pay $3,500 annually to heat homes. Rural areas relying on delivered fuel oil pay $5,000 plus. Electricity costs are double the national average. Groceries cost 30–50% more than the lower 48. Everything is expensive: transportation, maintenance, clothing. But it's not just costs. Alaska is isolated, truly isolated. Many communities are accessible only by plane or boat. Medical care is limited. Entertainment is DIY. The darkness causes depression. Seasonal affective disorder affects 25% of Alaskans. Suicide rates are 2.5x the national average. Yet, here's the paradox. Alaska's median home price is $360,000, up 7% year over year. In Anchorage, prices hit $415,000. Inventory is tight, just 2.1 months of supply. Days on market? 22. In a state where winter is 6 months and darkness is oppressive, housing demand is strong. The reason? The permanent fund dividend. Alaska pays residents annually from oil revenue. Recent dividends around $1,600 per person. For a family of 4, that's $6,400 yearly. No state income tax. No sales tax in most areas. The economic structure rewards residency. What's making Alaska even more attractive? Jobs pay well. Oil industry workers earn 6 figures. Healthcare professionals command premium salaries due to scarcity. Federal employees, military, parks, agencies provide stable employment. Average household income is $80,000, among the highest nationally. And then there's the lifestyle. Alaska attracts adventurers, not accountants. Fishing, hunting, hiking, skiing. Outdoor recreation is world-class. The culture values self-reliance, freedom, and community. For those seeking escape from mainstream America, Alaska is ultimate refuge. Young families are buying homes in Wasilla and Palmer. Suburbs of Anchorage where $340,000 buys space and access. They're trading convenience for adventure, accepting isolation for authenticity. But there are serious challenges. Alaska's economy is oil-dependent, vulnerable to price swings. Climate change is accelerating. Permafrost thaw threatens infrastructure. Coastal villages face erosion and flooding. The future is uncertain. Could Alaska's appeal continue? For those seeking extreme living, yes. The state filters ruthlessly. Only the committed survive. But economic vulnerabilities are real. Population growth is stagnant. Young people leave for opportunities elsewhere. Alaska isn't for most people. It's for those who need frontier, who crave challenge, who reject suburban conformity. Winter isn't a deterrent. It's the point. And those embracing that mentality wouldn't live anywhere else. Number 1. Minnesota. Here it is. The coldest inhabited place in America. International Falls, Minnesota. The icebox of the nation. This isn't just cold, it's legendary. Average January temperatures hit 2 degrees. The record low is 55 degrees. The temperature drops below zero on 40-plus nights annually. Below freezing, 200-plus days per year. Winter lasts from October through April, 7 months of cold. Heating costs exceed $2,800 annually. Homes require specialized construction, extreme insulation, heat tape on pipes, block heaters for vehicles. Residents budget $200 yearly just for winter vehicle maintenance. Clothing, snow removal, ice fishing equipment. Winter is expensive infrastructure. But it's not just the temperature. International Falls is remote. Population, 6,000. The nearest major city is Duluth, 300 miles away. Jobs concentrate in paper mills and border services. Economic opportunities are minimal. Young people flee. The median age is 47. Yet, here's the miracle. International Falls isn't dying. Homes sell for $160,000 median, remarkably stable. The community is tight-knit, crime is non-existent, and those who live here are fiercely proud. They've built identity around extremity. The reason people stay, and some even move here: authenticity. International Falls isn't pretending to be something it's not. It's cold, it's remote, it's challenging. And that honesty is refreshing. People here are genuine, communities are real, and life is intentional. What makes International Falls work? Low costs and strong community. Housing is affordable, taxes are reasonable, and neighbors actually know each other. In a nation of transient suburban anonymity, that's increasingly valuable. And then there's the culture. International Falls celebrates cold. Annual ice festivals, hockey culture, outdoor winter sports. Residents don't endure winter, they embrace it. The mentality is different. Cold isn't a problem to solve. It's a condition to adapt to. Families who live here multi-generationally aren't leaving. They're renovating homes, investing in communities, raising children with values shaped by hardship and cooperation. They're choosing belonging over convenience, roots over comfort. Could International Falls grow? Probably not. It's too extreme for most. But it will endure. The people here have chosen this life deliberately. They're not trapped. They're committed. International Falls represents something profound. Humans can thrive anywhere if the community and purpose are strong enough. The coldest place in America isn't abandoned. It's alive, because the people choose to make it so. From Maine to Alaska, from Vermont to International Falls, we've journeyed through America's frozen frontier. And here's what the data reveals. Cold isn't driving people away. In many cases, it's attracting them. This isn't just about housing markets. It's about what Americans value: space over density, community over anonymity, authenticity over convenience, economic opportunity over perfect weather. These cold weather states offer what the Sun Belt can't match: stability, affordability in some cases, quality of life metrics that matter more than temperature. Think about it. While millions chase 75-degree winters in Florida and Arizona, facing hurricane risk, insurance crises, and overcrowding, others are deliberately choosing sub-zero temperatures for something more meaningful. They're choosing states with water resources as droughts intensify. They're choosing economic stability over boom-bust cycles. They're choosing communities that still function like communities. The cultural commentary here is fascinating. America is fragmenting geographically by values. Those moving to cold weather states aren't just seeking jobs or affordability. They're seeking environments that align with how they want to live. Conservative Montanans, progressive Vermonters, adventurous Alaskans. Each cold state attracts specific tribes. The housing markets reflect this sorting. Bozeman, Montana, and Burlington, Vermont, have bidding wars despite brutal winters because they're selling lifestyles, not just homes. Buyers are paying premiums for authenticity, community, and values alignment. But there's a warning embedded in this data. As migration to cold weather states accelerates, they face the same challenges that plague the Sun Belt: rising prices, local displacement, infrastructure strain, cultural tension. Montana's boom is pricing out Montanans. Vermont's charm is threatened by its popularity. These states risk losing the very qualities that attracted newcomers. For those considering this counterintuitive migration, understand what you're choosing. You're choosing 20-degree 3-hour mornings and $20,500 heating bills. You're choosing isolation and darkness. You're choosing communities where winter isn't a season. It's a shared trial that bonds or breaks residents. But you're also choosing something increasingly rare. States with water, states with space, states where housing might actually appreciate long-term, states where community still means something. You're choosing the long game over immediate comfort. The opportunity for buyers is real. States like South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana offer economic advantages: no income tax, job growth, appreciating real estate. If you can handle the cold, the financial calculus is compelling. The opportunity for investors is selective. Bozeman and Missoula offer growth potential. Fargo and Sioux Falls offer stability. But International Falls and rural Alaska? That's lifestyle, not investment. If this analysis revealed patterns you hadn't considered, subscribe now. We break down America's most important housing and migration trends with data, depth, and zero BS. Whether you're buying, selling, or just fascinated by